Futurama coming to life. Look at this, Aaron in a jar.
This is absolutely insane. This is my persona. And if I'm looking at a blank wall right now, I'm looking at Jay Dowd. I'm seeing Mike Bacon in the back room. I'm seeing Herbert Green and Lionel. I'm literally seeing Zoom on the blank wall in front of me. Okay. Now, obviously, there's no camera staring back at me. So, what it had to do was this device had to scan my face. It had to do a 3D replica of my. This is so creepy, staring at myself like this. But it did a 3D rendering of my face as best as it possibly could, and clearly it's in beta. But now I'm able to have a virtual conversation, and you're able to see me. If we were to have a FaceTime call, you may start to see more people do this. I think you're going to start to see Apple users use these personas. They hopefully will improve over time. The only reason why I bring this up today, and we brought this up before the last week's hackathon, is because I really think the future is bright for hackathons and DJing in general. Let me explain. Let me take off this very scary persona. Let me take off this. Let me put my microphone on and oof, wow, that was just nuts. Let me show you why this is so crazy for me. Yes, it is heavy. It is very, I don't even need to look in the comments. I know people are asking, is it heavy? It is, in fact, but I'm going to share with you on screen what it's like to DJ with the Apple Vision Pro. I did a recording of it last night, and I think it's just an interesting point of view for you all to see what it's actually like. Here is the back wall behind me. You're seeing behind me, and this is what I'm seeing in front of the screen. Familiar Apple Vision layout, the apps, they all feel about the same. The navigation is a little wild. How do I explain it? You're using your hands to get through certain motions and movements. Instead of dragging a mouse or using the magic touchpad, you're pinching and sliding back and forth this imaginary set of turntables on the wall. Now, what's even more nuts to me is you can change the atmosphere. In fact, if I'm bored of this white wall, I can stand up and take these turntables with me anywhere I want to. I can, similar to Tribe, the XR that we did with the Meta Quest 3, this allows you a set of virtual decks, but here's where it gets even crazier. You have virtual decks in front of you. What if you want to scratch? Without joysticks, you actually can. You can use your physical hands to maneuver the plates. It almost feels like there's actually vinyl, even though there's really not vinyl underneath. I'm telling you, when you touch those vinyl platters, it moves back and forth like an actual set of platters would. And the pitch works perfectly. It's just nuts. Okay, let's say I need to see this preview really quick. Let's go back here. Did you notice something here? Let me rewind. Look at that feature. How huge is it now to be able to know that you have Apple Music and your local files accessible? I repeat, for anybody who has Apple Music, this is a milestone in terms of creation. So you're seeing a combination right now on the screen of both my Cray Hackers MP3s as well as Apple Music combined. So I'm literally dragging and dropping into each platter, and I'm seeing the waveforms inside the mixer. I'm pushing play. It looks like actual decks, doesn't it? You tell me. It's almost indistinguishable. Now, here's the best part. Obviously, there's some visuals and EQs, but I wanted to show you the augmented clubs that you can step into. Let's say I don't even want to be in this room anymore. I want to portal somewhere else. I'm inside a cube now. I totally blacked out my room. It's just me and my turntables now. Look at this one. This one's dope. Oh my God. Could you imagine? Oh my God. Now try to imagine. I don't know if they're thinking about this yet, but let me pause. I'm looking at a tunnel, a space tunnel that's clearly a dance floor, right? Why can't people be in that dance floor environment? Why can't they be looking back at the DJ booth? Why can't there be that connection like I just had in Zoom minutes ago with this and you all out there? So you're seeing my point here. Why can't hackathons be a one-to-one connection? We have talked about this for so long with the Meta Quest 3 and the Horizon Worlds and the metaverse and all that sort of stuff. And dare I say it, Apple doesn't even talk about the metaverse at all. They never once in their keynote that they bring up metaverse because it's spatial computing now. Spatial computing. And it makes more sense when you're seeing it from my point of view, because this is spatial. You're in a virtual space with all your familiar apps. And when I say familiar apps, a lot of apps, pretty much any app you're used to using, you can put on the wall next to you. If you want to DJ right here in front of you, go ahead. Maybe on the right-hand side, you can put Instagram up, or you can take any kind of productivity and put it on the wall. Maybe some crate hackers charts, put it on this wall over here. And it's just nuts. It's crazy to even think that we're inside this world. Oh man. If y'all want a deeper dive, I'm going to definitely do some YouTube tutorials on this as we go along. But thank y'all for joining us. We're into the first quarter of our hackathon. What's up? Thank you for joining us. Oh my gosh, what a great audience. Hey, J Dowd, how you doing, man? J Dowd, what's up?
What's going on?
I want to give you a big shout out because you've been grinding on the R&B tip. Are you just feeling R&B lately? Is it in your blood lately? Talk to me.
So like around here, the R&B brunches have been just popping off like crazy.
R&B brunches. Tell me about
Yeah.
those.
So like they're doing like breakfast and lunch parties where people go out and it's just R&B hits. And it's more of a social vibe. People just hang out and drink mimosas and have breakfast, but it's all R&B music.
Okay. That's one thing you can't get in a metaverse is so you got that thing going for you still. I want to show off your crates in a little bit and we'll tap into your brain with these R&B lunches soon. But a lot of you all are here for one very important reason, obviously to hack with a fellow brother and sister. Put a one in the chat for everybody. Let me hit the screen right now. I only have one screen today, so I'm very limited with what I can share with you today, but I want to see some ones. Put some ones. Eddie, thank you. I saw one. I saw one from Creighton. One, thank you. Shout out to your brothers and sisters, your fellow DJs. Ain't got nothing to do else, but on a Tuesday night, hang out with us. Thank you. I see McPeak hanging out with us. I see PV Simpson. Thank you all for turning your cameras on. This is important because that one person you might be seeing on the screen could be that next DJ who gets you that opportunity, get you that network somewhere in your outside your network. In fact, let's do this right now. Replace those ones and tell me where you're from. Introduce yourself and tell us where you're from. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. I got something really cool to show you. San Diego, hold on a second. San Diego, ATL, yes. Brooklyn, Canada. Thank you for being here, Joe. Vancouver, so cool. Can I show you something really cool? So I just moved into my new spot, and right out here is Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. Country Music Television building is right here, as well as the AT&T building. And right over here is like a little R&B singer-songwriter poetry. And this is where people would party during the Prohibition. They would literally drink liquor here and be allowed to. It's like the seedy environment, not really. People who just weren't allowed to party were given one license and they were allowed to do it on this one strip. A lot of seedy environments, a lot of underground parties and so on. And I guess I'm getting closer to the music down here. Before we get into tonight's hackathon, there is a reason why I moved to Nashville, and a lot of it had to do with R&B music. It really did. At first, you think about Nashville and you're thinking, wow, it's very country. You think about Dolly Parton. You think about Garth Brooks. You think about Toby Keith, rest in peace. Oh my gosh. You think about all these amazing. But then I realized that there is a huge culture of R&B music, and more importantly, they come through the museums, and the events are extravagant. They have so many, like the Boys to Men just performed with the symphony. New Edition just came through recently. Patti LaBelle was just hanging out 2 blocks away from here. We're getting closer to the epicenter, and I'm realizing that it's not just country music. There's a soul down here, a vibrancy and an energy that I really felt. And I wouldn't have moved to Nashville for the country music. I never really felt it. There's that vibe down here that I really feel, especially in the Printer's Alley. So I want to talk about that tonight. I want to talk about everyone's favorite R&B song, what really got them into DJing, more importantly, and share some tips about DJing at an R&B dance party, more importantly. I have Jay with us. I also have a very special guest that I want to introduce. We always have somebody more of an expert in it than I could ever be. And I really want you to put your ones together and make our guest of the week feel very welcome. He's been in Jersey for over 27 years. Started when he was 15 years old. Open format DJ, tons of weddings. More importantly, did a lot of events for the NFL Sunday in the Jersey Shore area, as well as Victoria's Secrets events. Hung out with, was it John Legend? Mike, you were hanging out with Wesley Snipes? Mike, was it Wesley Snipes you were hanging out with?
He was there. I wouldn't say I was hanging out with him.
You were with Blade in the same room with you? I would have played like that Blood intro techno rave song from the Blade soundtrack right when you walked in.
Yeah, that would have changed the vibe of the room for sure.
Mike Bacon is in the house. Put a one in the chat for Mike Bacon, everyone. He's our R&B dance party brain tonight. I want to soak it up because 27 years in the game, that's a lot. Has it always been leaning towards R&B, or why did you choose this genre in particular tonight? Mike, tell
I
us.
mean, that was just something I felt like is a good topic. Jay Dowd had mentioned earlier, there's a lot of different parties and events that are catering towards this now. You're starting to hear, we're getting requests for the genre itself, which never used to be a thing. They would just say, they'll come up to you and they'll say, hey, you have like 90s R&B, 2000, 90s, 2000s. You usually hear that a lot. But yeah, that was one of the genres that really got me into wanting to DJ as opposed to just being a fan of music. The first party I ever did, the first song I ever played was Gina Thompson's "Of the Things You Do" remix with Missy Elliott.
I was just about to ask you, what was that first vinyl record you picked up that got you into all this? What was the one that started to define your sound?
The first vinyl single I ever got was "Get At Me Dog" by DMX, not R&B. But
Nice.
But yeah, that was, yeah, I got my first set of turntables in 98. I was just using CDs and tapes before that, but I think that qualifies. Yeah, my first haul was like MX, Noriega. I remember getting the Cheapskate record by Sporty Thieves. I'm going deep now. Most Def, Talib Kweli, that stuff. Like, I was very much a hip hop guy. But then there's a flip side to it, and R&B has a way, especially at that time and in the 2000s, had a lot of connections with the remixes, and a lot of rappers would jump on to do these guest verses, which are perfect for parties.
I remember the Fantasy radio edit from Mariah Carey. I think my first introduction was when ODB stepped in for that verse, and it was the remix all of a sudden. And then 112 suddenly took one of my favorite songs, Only You, but then stepped it up with the Bad Boy remix of bringing Notorious B.I.G. in for iconic, a couple of bars there. Explain to me what draws you emotionally to R&B, Mike? You keep going back to it. What is it about going back to that excites you?
Yeah, it's a great question. I just feel like it's just the music you love just speaks to you, right? You feel it, and once you figure it out, you want more, and you want like, I'm a collector, and I always want to find like the best version of every song, best remix, what have you. So yeah, it's just always been a favorite for me. So yeah, you mentioned Fantasy.
Yeah.
I mean, that still kills. I mean, it kills. I've never seen that song not kill. And I think a lot of people in the room could attest to that. That was on my wedding playlist. I only had 10 songs, like 10 must plays, and Fantasy Remix was one of them. So just, you hit it right on the head.
We were talking earlier about, should we just qualify this as a 90s R&B hackathon? We are going to talk about music. We're going to show you a track list tonight. He put together a set in a crate that you could start downloading tonight. We'll get to that in a minute. But we earlier thought, what if we just stayed 90s R&B? Going back and forth on our private messaging, we finally decided R&B dance party, because you thought that everyone knows or should know that time and era. Would it be safe to say it's time to maybe introduce some newer songs and newer styles? Why did we land on just a more blanket overall approach tonight?
I could go either way. Like, when we were talking 90s, I had different segments in my head prepared to unleash, and different ways of approaching 90s R&B. I think there's a misconception sometimes. I was in Target the other day, and I saw and now that's what I call 90s. I should have taken a picture of the track list. It was funny. And it started off okay. I'm like, okay, this is like what I think is 90s R&B. But then it got into 5 or 6 straight ballads. And it's, yes, is Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You, 90s R&B? I guess it is, but I don't think when somebody's requesting that or somebody's talking about it, I think they're more or less talking about songs that were on mixtapes, songs that were in the club, not so much like radio ballads. Not Boys to Men, I'll Make Love to You, or Water Runs Dry. But Vibe and Remix, which I love, with Method Man, Busta Rhymes, Craig Mack, to me, that's 90s R&B. When they say that term, they're talking about the sound that was born out of Kid Capri and Ron G blending hip-hop beats over R&B records, and which eventually turned into a Puff Daddy picking up that sound, using it with Mary J. Blige, which is how we get Real Love, which has that top billing backbeat to it. And then that sound was just emulated over the years, over and over again, in many different ways. But that's the core of it to me, like that like Real Love, Mary J. Blige.
Yeah, the keyword is the backbeat. I think we need a little energy, not ballads. We want something danceable. I think we're looking for more of a throw me some New Jack Swing, something with a remix to it. I want to dive in, but I also want to get everyone's opinion and thoughts and approach to it, which is why everyone's included in tonight's conversation. Herbert Green, I see you every single week. I want you chatting with me tonight because you have knowledge for days. I want people raising their hand and discussing along with this. That's the only way for hackathons to work. It's everybody's playlist tonight, not just ours. So here's how it works. We're going to crack open this crate and you got to contribute. In order to view what we currently have behind the scenes, you have to add a song suggestion. So here's how it goes. We're going to go ahead and share our screen. We're going to go to create.com. That's createoftheweek.com. All my hackers, thank you for joining us tonight. So here is our formula. Tonight, we're just sharing one of Mike Bacon's personal sets, and then you're all going to add to it. And here's how that will work. I'm going to go ahead and head over to createoftheweek.com, and everyone can do that the same way I am. Tell me if that's working or not. If it's not, I'll put it in the chat. In fact, Radio, I had a bad link there, so I'm just going to drop this in the chat. If you wouldn't mind, Radio, add that a few more times for people to catch on there if you want. And then here we are at the hacker screen. Now, we all got to contribute before we see the goods, before we get this mixable crate in your hands, in your Serato, in your virtual DJ, in your record box. We're going to click here to suggest a track. So I haven't contributed any songs just yet. If I were to be thinking about, and this is how we all should be thinking, we want something with a beat, we want something with some energy to it, we want to see a dance floor in front of us. I think I may have just already named it. I'm going to say next, too close. If that looks like the one that you want to add, click add. And then I'm going to take another one. I'll go, let's think. I said it earlier. I'll go with Only You. It's still so iconic. The Bad Boy remix. All right. It's as simple as that. All you have to do is do the same exact thing in order to see behind the curtain. Now, before I open this up for everybody, Mike, tell us what we're in for inside.
So this crate ranges from the 70s to now. I think it's very brunch ready. It's a type of vibe. I play at Hook and Reel. It's a chain of Cajun seafood restaurants, but they have a bar, like a little bar scene there. And it stems from me doing 7 or 8 years at TGI Fridays, where I had established one at North Brunswick, New Jersey. And this was like the sound. We crafted it when we first started. Me and some of the guys I work with, DJ Spins, DJ Big J, many others, we were coming into it as a very open format perspective. But then once we really focused on the regulars and the crowd that was coming in, it really became more of an R&B type of vibe. And I could easily play this set there with my eyes closed. But I snuck in some good stuff. So there's some classics, there's some staples, but then there's probably some lesser known tracks in there, which is, I think, good to do for something like this.
Sounds good. Good introduction. Here's what we'll do. We'll crack it open. And then for those of you that are brand new, thank you for joining us at the Hackathon. And if you have yet to become a member, go ahead and grab that 7-day free trial so you too can start hacking just like the rest of us here tonight. I will give you a preview of what to expect, but for those of you that are just brand new to this, in the center of the screen, you're going to see Mike's performance, much like a set list in the order in which it was blended and performed. And then on the right-hand side, you're going to see suggestions from everybody else. In other words, the people who contributed to view the crates, just like I'm about to do right now. You ready? Is everybody ready? Tonight's
good.
It's right here. Eddie Acosta currently has, he just got knocked out of first place. Eddie Acosta was #1 with Mary J. Blige and Family Affair.
Nice.
But then he, Jagged Edge, Where the Party At, with 2 likes. If I were to take a song and add this suggestion, let's see where mine ended up here. No one's voted for mine quite just yet, but I do Keith Dinkins, Sensual Seduction. Hey, Mike, when's the last time you played Sensual Seduction?
It's been a minute. I should try that. I might try that tonight. We'll see.
Yeah, it's got that 125 BPM, right? I think we could use that. I'm going to bring that up. Let's look at, I want to vote up a few more here. Darren Jackson, Let's Get Down by Tony. Thank you.
Great song. Love that song.
This is good. This is the energy I like. Mr. Cheeks, Lights, Camera, Action. Joe Eddie, thank you with that. I'm going to give you a vote on that one. That was like what that sweet spot of Lights, Camera, Action was really a hot track out of Lil' Kim and Mace, like the 107 BPM. Good times.
Yeah, I think that's a good bridge. That's a good bridge type of song. But yeah, Jagged Edge, Where the Party At, I still play that on the regular. Still gets a great reaction. Family Affair still gets a killer reaction, in my opinion.
Sure does. Let's talk about your song suggestions inside the crate and walk us through. You started off with request line.
Love
Whoa.
request line. And you can, to me, it's interchangeable with, yeah, hey, Mr. DJ. But request line is just like this sleek kind of vibe. Samples Ashford and Simpson, just great. They're from Jersey too, so maybe I'm a little biased, but I love Jeanne. They're like one of those groups that I don't think they got played out at the time. It was just the right amount, and they had this very like timeless sound to it. It was like disco, but also R&B. I just
And
think that's a great starting point for any set.
forgot about request line. I'm not gonna lie. Hey, Mr. DJ was just that go-to everybody knew. But then was this before or after?
That's post. Yeah, it was 97. I think that was their second album. But yeah, that's a vibe, man. That is definitely a vibe.
Get a lot of activity on the right-hand side. Thank you for voting them all up here. I got Andrew on the right hand with 2 likes for My Boo. I just got to vote for that. I'm going to give that one a Return of the Mac, some Montel Jordan. You got the next 2 close and number 2 over here, Mike. Is that one of your favorites too?
Yeah, it's one of those songs that just is hung around, and even younger people in their 20s, they recognize it. And it's just a good, sexy song, man. Love the intro. I cut up the little piano part, and that's something I've been like getting better and better at and doing like different little things with it. Yeah, I probably play that song every week, honestly.
Walk me through the rest of what on the screen really quick before I
Yeah, sure. Let me just move that over. So I go to Barry White, wanted to like throw like a left-hand turn there, but like with the tempo, it fits. And I followed up with You Bring Me Joy by Mary J with samples, the Barry White song. So typically if I'm playing that Barry White, I love playing the intro. Maybe I'll do the first verse and the hook and then go right into You Bring Me Joy. Just pick up the tempo by 2 or 3 notches and you can work those together. Yeah, I love doing sample transitions. Those are fun. And it's almost like it's educational to the crowd too. Let me see. So what do you got after that?
got some John B, some Donnell Jones. Looking good so far.
Yeah, and that's another one. Like, After Parties, just another song that I think like people forget about. I think that was like 2000, 2001-ish. Just perfect for brunch kind of vibe. That's like drinking mimosas and all that. And little transitional tidbit here. I want to say Full Moon is it's the same key as After Party. The piano, if you start that at a certain point, I don't have the timing on it right now, but there's a certain point where if you start that piano, it like perfectly syncs up with After Party and drops at the right time. It's a really smooth mix. I recommend anybody try it out.
What you working with? Serato or
Serato Pro? Yeah.
Nice. Let's talk a little bit more about the preparation going into these kind of lanes. You do a lot more theme parties with this style. Your prep work, where are you going? Where's your go-to source educated to top off your crates?
It's pretty much just using everything I already know, but doing it in like a more modern way, if that makes sense. Yeah, a lot of this stuff to me is like good first hour material if you're playing a club or a lounge. But some of it, if you have the right crowd, you could hang on to it and play it later. Or if it's more of like a brunch setting, this could be your whole set and people are they're gonna vibe to it. But yeah, like we said, we were talking about earlier, it's just the genre that has hung with me. And a lot of times, certain places I play, people walk in the room and they see me and they don't expect me like to play so many songs, which is always, I get a lot of compliments about that. And I always appreciate it when I hear that. So I like bringing out some lesser knowns or just songs people haven't heard in a while that they are familiar with. And yeah, I'm sure that on this list.
We'll continue the Q&A in just a little while, but I want you to think about coming back in a second here with top 3 things every DJ should know about R&B dance parties or just fun facts. We told you to think about that earlier. I want to swing back over and hang out with Jay Dowd if you're still with me. Jay, you rocking with me?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
Sir, hey, sir. Thank you for being here. And again, you've been on a tear. You've been out of town. You've been gone. Where did you go?
I spent a week in Mexico, Riviera Maya.
Were you literally building crates on the beach? Did you say that?
Yeah, so they upgraded me to a sky terrace. I was up on top of the building in a hot tub, and
Tough life.
it was
I'm looking at
just really
I'm looking at
appreciated.
tough life you have, man.
It's not the view in Nashville, but we're almost there.
Were you just on a vacation or something, or?
Nah, so we got a resort, a free stay with the little thing that I bought into. So after it was all paid off, they gave me a free week. So I'm like, why not take it? And I went to DR and I was really inspired by the music on the resorts because they're in tune to what's going on. I go down there and I have Shazam out because it's a different language and I like to be a little bit more diverse. I've never went to Mexico, so I've seen a different side of what's going on, and I got to network and spin with a couple DJs down there too, so it was cool.
Did you really? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you're international.
Yeah, I can specifically say that. Yeah.
Officially international. I'm not even international. R&B dance party number 9, R&B dance party 10. Which one should I open up?
I think mine was 8 and 9.
Oh.
And a quick plug here, I took some suggestions from the DJ playlist group on this, and I worked hand in hand with that to create these, as well as obviously filling in the gaps with my suggestions.
Oh, this is a great segue. So this is how actually I met Mike. Mike was also, I don't know if you know this, but you'd been working with the DJ playlist group for
years. Yeah, probably at least 5 or 6 years.
6 years. And so we asked a question inside the DJ playlist group, something along the lines of add a song to this playlist. And so you came in and put it all together, Jay. Is that it?
Yeah, I use that as a fuel because obviously the thing that people want in there is a little bit of help. So I'll drop some of the songs that weren't on the list and then use the rest of them as a creative fuel to give back to crate hackers from other professionals. So the group's huge. Why not use it? So
man, let me just show it. So for those that don't know, we have a massive DJ playlist group. For those of you who think that it's just us putting these crates together, not at all. So what we do is we send Jay on a task often to go to the DJ playlist group on Facebook. I don't know if anybody has. Let me go ahead and add this link to the chat for radio to see and share. Everyone check your chat and go ahead and open that up. But this is DJ playlist group. 77,000 members. 77,000 members. I don't even think Aiden Ross has that many people watching them on Kick. Good grief. Look at that. That's baller numbers. And so, Mike, you were there from the beginning, or were you there along the way? You've become
along the way.
Group?
Yeah, it was originally admin by someone else, but then it was passed to my colleague and boss, DJ Greg Ambient, Greg Holman. He took it over, but then advised, that I should be a moderator. And I said, yeah, sure. So I jumped in on that. And then, he connected with you at the expo this past year, and we made our arrangement. And now we're all working together, which is cool. We get hundreds. What's up?
What was that?
Yeah, it's like we get hundreds of new members every day. It's wild. And yeah, I've dropped a lot of playlists in there. I have these ones called, they're like deep dives. R&B party. I have 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2K10. And I just did one, I forget what it's called, but it's songs by rappers that lean 90s R&B. So something like One More Chance by Biggie, Method Man and Mary J. Blige, or All I Need to Get By, Just Another Day, Queen Latifah, stuff like that, like songs that are actually on rap albums, like official rap tracks. But people don't normally put them in the R&B lane because they're rappers, but they either sample or have that R&B vibes. Yeah, it's a fun playlist. Everybody should check that out. I'll pass that on at some point.
It's fun to see how you said this earlier. And Jay, maybe you can pitch in on this thought process, but we were all surprised that we thought we were the only ones doing it this way. Or how did you say it earlier? You thought that you were the only person.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, the playlist group taught me a lot. Yeah, I'm like a maniac. And some people have told me that before, but I just laughed at it. Like, yeah, I can be OCD with music and organization and building crates, and every single crate I have is hand built. It's nothing like that I had gotten from somebody else or anything like that. It's all like the way I want it. And then I learned that not everybody does it that way. Not everybody knows as many genres as you would expect a DJ to. But I think it's cool that people come in, and I think it takes a lot of courage to ask a group of 77,000 people for help on a genre like Motown, which is like second nature to some of the old school DJs. But if you're a younger head, you might never have heard like the right amount of Motown in your life. It's not something that gets played all the time. So yeah, there's so many different DJs at different levels, and everybody had their first Spanish party. Everybody had their first Indian party. And a lot of this stuff that we do is trial and error. I think it's good for people. And I think we should be definitely patient with and understanding with others that are experiencing some of these events and genres for the first time, if that makes sense.
It does. I'm glad you say it that way. That's true. Not everyone's at a skill level that is at an equal level. So be patient with people who are clearly underneath you. The ones who are ahead of you, give them the respect they deserve. But yeah, the playlist group has really taught us a lot. And Jay, what's it like now building like Mike does? He takes his crates and he puts a lot of thought and curation and process into every particular crate. You're doing this with the help of feedback from 75,000 people. What's that like for you?
It's tough and it's not tough at the same time, because the biggest task is the songs that get, commented 400 times, and those are bangers. But what I like to do is and everybody's always going to be like, listen, I'm a DJ, I know all the songs, I'm a DJ, I know all the songs. So I've been DJing forever, just like everybody else. And there's still, every day I look at that and I'm like, I never thought of that song. I forgot about that song. And I use it to backfill. So it's, even if it's hip hop or whatever that I know like the back of my hand, every single time in that group, the 77,000 people, somebody will every time say a song that I didn't think about or I don't have in that crate and I need it to backfill. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it that it's access there.
Thanks, Jay. I really appreciate all you do for us. He's also the guy who helps, I don't know, but he's the Serato help desk inside Crate Hackers. Not to say y'all need to DM him right now with your Serato problems. He's got enough it is. He'll help with Crate Hackers and Serato at help@cratehackers.com. But it's just a pleasure having you around. Mike Bacon, three things that every DJ should know about an R&B dance party.
Number one, just a spin off of what Jay was talking about. I think you want to find some of the lesser known stuff that you could play, or just stuff that hasn't been burned to the ground. Sure, you could play Montel Jordan, This Is How We Do It. That's technically a 90s R&B song, but there's just so much. It's almost endless how many great songs there are that you could incorporate into this. And people really do notice when you work in stuff that's between the lines, like stuff that people, haven't heard in 20 years. And, some of it just, it ages like fine wine, it brings back great memories for people. And, you asked me to make this, put together a set. You could ask me the same question, a month from now, or even a week from now. I might give you a whole, 35, 40 different songs. That's how deep all this runs. So that's, to me, is to look for the unconventional. Of course, have the big ones. Have your Real Love, Mary J. Blige. Have, like I said, Montel Jordan, Candy Rain. Have your TLC Creep. Have those ready, because those are they're like the main course. You've got to have the good side dishes. And think about stuff on the fringe, stuff that crosses over into other genres. Yeah, I just started to work on one, and I'm not sure how far I'll get, but I'm intrigued. It's called R&B Party Pop Stars. So it's got like stuff like Ariana Grande and Mac Miller, some Christina Aguilera that went in sync, did the stuff with Neptunes, like that kind of vibe. So like you can cross it. We have Spice Girls, Say You'll Be There. To me, that's borderline R&B record, right? Like it's pop, but it's got that soul. It's got the right tempo. Like if you play your sets correctly, you could work it in. Yeah, Bob T. March mentioned Check the Rhyme. Like I like playing that with Candy Rain, Soul for Real. It's got that same, I think it's a Minnie Riperton sample. It's got that same backbeat. And so, yeah, these songs bridge to like old school hip hop. Yeah, so I could go on and on. And so a couple other things. Also, have your slow set ready. Like I've had a lot of fun doing late night slow sets. Like, I mean, to me, that could be an episode in its own. But like quick mixing, like R&B, like closers, stuff like Usher, Nice and Slow, Fiendin' by Jodeci, Moke and Steph, He's Mine. I could go on for Brownstone. Like they had some bangers. Tell Me by Drew Hill, stuff like that. Like you could turn that into an entire vibe. I think that would be great at a what's called a brunch.
Chat, tell me in the chat, are you playing slow songs? If so, how often and when? Slow songs, when? And aside from weddings, that's a no-brainer. You're gonna play slow songs, but aside from that, is there a slow song that you play at the end of the night, perhaps? Maybe a dance floor clear, last call R&B love song, or who does? Tell me in the chat if you do or not, because
if you play you like I've done 45 minutes to an hour of just straight slow bangers, everything from Marvin Gaye in there and Stevie stuff, Bobby Brown, I Want to Rock With You, like that kind of stuff. Just it can all intertwine. You can make it work. It's just all about knowing the songs, knowing how to play it, knowing the key parts. I think it's all essential.
DJ Spin Diesel says "Love in This Club" is the final song before he wraps up his party.
It kills. It kills. I just threw together an Usher crate today because I'm going to go DJ at Rutgers tonight. With the Super Bowl coming, I figured, maybe I could rock, a quick see where it goes. Like you never know, like with a nightclub, KNIGHT, like Scarlet Nights at Huey's nightclub, like you could deep dive a little bit with an Usher set for 20 minutes. And looking at that crate, I think there's a potential that you could do that.
Mike set you up with a pretty bulletproof set list, as well as J Dowd hitting you with a few more. Don't forget, we've also talked earlier about the 90s R&B. We haven't even dove into those crates yet, but I will share, even for those of you who are not crate hackers, links to a good majority of all of our crates. So if you're down for that, put a 1 in the chat. I think we learned a lot tonight. Creeping up on the 10-minute mark before the top of the hour, which always leaves room for Q&A. Spy, thank you for joining us. Thank you all for hanging. Jonathan, Smooth, Jermaine, Elwin, Priscilla, Mike, Justin, we're not done yet. It's time for a Q&A. I'm shouting out your name on Zoom right now because number 1, thank you for having your cameras on. Number 2, raise your hands right now. So I'm gonna pass it over to Radio. Radio's gonna go ahead and do the Q&A session, but let me again remind everybody how to interact on Zoom. Look at your menu, bottom of the screen, click raise hand. See my screen? I'm raising my hand. Do that so you can step in line for a Q&A. Discussions, songs we forgot about, opinions, thoughts, playlist crates, etc. Radio, take it away.
For sure. Again, one more time. If you are going to participate in this Q&A, and for those of you watching on Facebook, I did pin the link. Join us at www.hackathon.com. Now, at the bottom of the Zoom menu, again, go click on reactions. Sometimes if you have a new version of Zoom, right next to the reactions is the raise hand option. Also, have your camera on so we can pull you into the conversation. And we'll have you ask what you'd like to ask us. Do keep your questions short and sweet. That way we can get to more people. Should we get more people raising their hand? If you're unable to turn on your camera, post your question in the chat. So if we have a moment where you are not able to raise your hand, we don't have anyone to call, we can go to your question in the chat as well. With that being said,
what's your favorite R&B song?
My favorite R&B song? I got so many. I can't pick one. I can't pick one.
Whenever I come to Vegas, I'm always in your car and you're always playing the smoothest jam. So I know you have something.
Oh, yeah. I have. They know you come in my car, it's an R&B mix fest all the time. So I can't pick one. But there was one there that was suggested in the chat. I'll mention it later because it's not for me to steal this thunder from all of your suggestions. Again, now I do want to say one more thing. A lot of people were posting suggestions in the chat, which is great. But let's see them all. We'll go back to the crate in a little bit. We want to see your picks. We don't want your picks to go unnoticed. Put it there. Unlock your crate at crateoftheweek.com. Put your 2 suggestions. Now, you may have more than 2. That's okay. Once you open the crate, you can add more. And when we can see, and then we can vote on your tracks. We want to make this crate really great, but we need your help. Put those tracks in that crate. So www.com. All right. We can go to the first question. We got John raising his hand. Let's have you unmute and join us. John, you there? We've unmuted you, John. All right. We'll come back to you if you can't unmute. We'll keep your hand raised. But let's go on to Superb Herb. Let's have you unmute.
Yeah, you call me out there.
Royalties in the building, because that's why.
Yeah, I go all the way back. We can start with my parents raiding their 50s collection. They started me into the jazz side with Jimmy Smith and Duke and all that stuff like that. I rated all their records. And then the 60s came. That's my era, high school and stuff like that. I still got all those 45. And so that James Brown and everything. I got crates of that stuff. And then who got me started DJing was in the 60s, and we used to do it with the two amps and stuff like that, and the speakers and stuff, just switching back and forth and stuff like that. We used to do like at the 5 and Dime store, we used to have, or the youth centers. So we used to do all those parties like that. Or you go to all the community centers through like in Yonkers or White Plains or down in the city. We'll start down for Westchester, and then we'll head to the city and stuff like that. And then when I got out of the military, then I started, Flash was the first one I seen D play down at the 371. Down there, and I used to go there after hours, but I was start up in Westchester with the Smith brothers, who taught me how to spin. Wow. All right, if anybody heard of it, he was around there with Cool Herc when they was all having all those contests out there, Cool Herc and Flash and all like that in the Bronx and stuff. Then next thing you know, I started DJing with the 90s when I started getting to the clubs, and so I still got all my playlists that I did from when I started DJing.
You still have all your old playlists?
Yeah, I have all my playlists. I got them on cassettes and things like that. I had lost maybe about a group of them because I did a party down in Maryland, and I had to work up in Harlem, and I had all my equipment in the car, and I had an architectural job to get out. And I meant to leave earlier. But when I came out there, they took my cassettes. And every time I started walking around the street, they was all mix sets. They was all the mix up that in the club. I had 100 of them. And every time I started hearing those mixes, I said, man, somebody stole those were my mixes.
File sharing. It's like modern day file sharing.
Yeah, that's what that was. That's what it was. And then I started DJing with Jazzy. He taught me how to spin all the stuff like that. Started working with Jazzy J in his studio and stuff like that. And then at my club in the Palace up in New Shell, which is home of Heavy D and all those groups and stuff like that, I started doing all their birthday parties because they was in Mount Vernon. So they always had their birthday parties there and stuff like that. And then my friend was also part of when Mary Blige and Father MC and all those guys came out. My partner that I grew up with, he was a general manager. He was a lawyer then, but he was a general manager. We went to Jack the Rapper down in Atlanta. We had a $50,000 expense account. And we just sat in the lobby and we just marketed there with all this. That was our office here. He bought all the Moet, all the shrimp cocktail, and our office was right there. So everybody was there, Barry White, and all the groups from all around the country, all the R&Bs. So like that, and the artists and doing records. So that was fun. And then here I am now, staying current. So my thing is, all the guys out there, was it Mike? Was it? Yeah, Mike. You said you started in what, the 90s or 80s?
In 97. Yeah, I was following it earlier, but like my first party was in 97.
Yeah, I was going for a good while since then. But the 90s, I think, was probably the hottest era with the new jack sound.
Absolutely.
That's when it really started to take off, because I started with the skating in the 70s and 80s. That's what kept me to mix smooth and blending. So I wasn't a scratcher then. So I was more of this to keep the skaters from not falling in any butt. So you just smooth transitions from the ballads all the way up and then back down. And then when I got to the club, then I can move around a little bit more. But my thing was always to break new records. I never listened to radio. So I was always at my club, I just introduce 10 new songs every week.
That's smart to do.
You're
talking about doing stuff I wish I could have done. Like, I've read the book on all that. So
I think it's the layered history to it all. I want to tap into his brain. I love just letting him share those stories, because you never know where it starts for anybody. And to think he's been doing it longer than I think he 27 years ago, he was probably still just rocking at that age.
he was 20 years in at that point, I would say.
Unbelievable. I know. Educate me tonight, everybody. Chat, throw some facts in the chat, throw some songs in the chat. Go ahead and give me all the knowledge, because it's rare we talk about this genre. There might be some gems that we're not even thinking about. Please open our mind to this. Raise your hand. Radio, what you got? Who's coming up next?
Let's see. John, let me know if you're able to unmute. I'm going to unmute you one more time. Let us know. I'm going to give you a moment. Otherwise, I'm going to lower your hand if you can't unmute, and you can raise your hand again. All right, you can't seem to unmute. So I'm going to mute. I'm going to lower your hand, and we're going to go on to Elwin.
Elwin!
Can't hear you. You're unmuted. I'll unmute you again. You keep remuting. I'll one more time. I'll unmute. It's on. Maybe your mic is muted and not so much Zoom, because I keep having to unmute you and you keep muting back.
It's like the equivalent
right now. You're unmuted. Yeah. Okay. I'll call you back and see if you can figure that out. And we're going to go to Marcel. Marcel, can you unmute?
Maybe. Can you guys hear me?
There we go. Yeah, we can hear you.
You're my newborns crying in the background.
Dad.
Congrats.
The perfect time to start the crying. They're quiet and then I get called up and here we go. Yeah. Okay. I'll keep it quick here. You got my mind racing about this like hip hop kind of crossover with R&B. And it's funny because like when I DJ, I don't even think about it. Like I'm just like, oh yeah, this is R&B, even though it's on a rap album. I don't even do that thought process. I just know. Wondering almost, is it worth its own crate? Like I'm already like, sky's the limit. How's it going down? There's so many that are so good that it's funny because like you play it, and if you didn't say it, it would just go unnoticed. People wouldn't even realize. And half the time you play things like that and they're not like the A side of the record. And so people are like, I didn't even know that this song even existed in the first place, because they're not paying attention that deeply into the records. But anyway, you just got me amped up about it. And now I'm sitting here like creating a little playlist on the side of just specific like tracks that do that little bit of a crossover. I'm almost just going to go into my own little vibe.
Yeah, not to take a Mike's answer, but I could say that in my 30 years of programming R&B radio stations through Clear Channel, I picked up some songs that were in the back of my head that I knew other people would appreciate. And then I also put some ones that I knew that were undiscovered. And I made my own R&B crate. distinctly mine. I think you should do the same. Whatever songs resonate and feel right to you, always build a crate that's just uniquely you, but just those power-packed songs that may be different from somebody else's. To go down that rabbit hole is what I'm saying. Go find those Mary J. Blige, Family Affairs, and the Return of the Max. Always get those solid foundations down. But for every 5 songs that are testing, take a chance and bring in 5 of your own. Dive deep. Mike, what do you want to say?
Those are great. Yeah, those are on my list. So you hit it right on the head. Like, yeah, how's it going down? DMX, Faith Evans. Yeah, I would make that a sub crate. Honestly, if you have a general R&B crate or a 90s, 2000s, whatever you may have, I like it like that. I just think a lot of DJs, in general, we're trained in a way, or like we train our brains to thinking it's very, okay, everything belongs in its categories, but then there's stuff that kind of works with each other. So yeah, no, it's cool to hear that you dig that concept.
Yeah, no, that's great. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Thank you, Marcel.
Got it.
All right, let's
his juices
bring
going.
on. Yeah, Mr. Grayton, let's have you unmute.
Similar. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Similar. I started out, back in '88, and it was all hip hop for me. But as venues changed, I noticed that I had to go more and more into that R&B as venues got bigger, and I changed my staff. Mr. Green was saying that all of those things started to change, so I had to adapt to the change to be relevant, because you can't keep playing '88 hip hop and you still want to be relevant to a new venue. So I had to make those adjustments, and it was a little rough because I wasn't a big R&B fan. But now I think I got at least 100, 200 R&B songs that do well in any venue that I may go to. If it's a wine sipping or even a bar, they all play pretty decent.
What do you say? Not that you have the answer for it, but where are we in 2024 with today's R&B, in your opinion? We're going back and resorting to the classics, but are we paving a path for something new in the future, Creighton? What are your thoughts?
So we have a few R&B artists that's playing, and as you listen to, so we just had the Grammys go, and you listen to that kind of music. It's not a big crowd out there that really wants to hear it, but somebody's listening to it. They got awards. So I started making those adjustments.
Yeah, SZA definitely being one of them. Man.
Oh, the spot I played tonight at Rutgers, The Color Violet is an anthem there. If you check out my Instagram, I got a couple of videos. The crowd, they're all college kids. They sing it there. But yeah, I saw somebody had also mentioned it was at Bryson Tiller. Some of his stuff still kills, like even some of his records from 5 or 6 years ago. I wish there was more R&B in the mainstream, but yeah, it's like you said, you got to pick your spots and find stuff we're getting introduced to some of these things at award shows, which is cool. Like whatever we can find.
Mike, I realize you have to bounce out of here, right? You have to DJ tonight.
But tonight, an hour.
Don't you? You got to go, don't you?
Yeah, what's our EST? Where are we at?
We're at 9:07 Eastern right now.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Everyone put one in the chat for our guest tonight, Mike Bacon. Give it up. Oh man, what an activity.
Make sure you follow his socials. I'll put it again in the chat.
Thanks, Mike. See him in the DJ playlist group as well.
Anytime. No, thank you, Aaron. And thank you, everybody, for checking it out.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked up this genre tonight. It's been fun to explore. It really is. Tons of crates waiting for you at cratehackers.com. Even if you're not a member of the DJ playlist group, is a great place to just build your own playlists and get some feedback. Thank y'all for being here. Still 78 rolling in the chat. Listen, Right. Who else we got?
We got Elwin. He's back.
See, Elwin, I see.
Hey guys,
Elwin.
what's up?
There you go.
Talk to me.
How's it going?
How are you, man?
Good, man.
What you got for us?
In the line of R&B, I think Beyonce seems to be the best.
Oh, that's what you were going to suggest?
Yes.
Okay. Well, no question about it. How did she do it? Did she show up at the Grammys last night? Did even Jay-Z pop into the Grammys? I didn't watch.
I can't say I didn't watch either.
All right, I'm going to chime in because my wife talked about this with me today. I didn't even watch the Grammys. Anybody who didn't watch the Grammys, I would say look out for the clip that Jay-Z said for his announcement, because it is hilarious.
What did he do? So Jay-Z...
So he basically went on stage and was like, hey, I don't know how Taylor Swift keeps getting all these nominations and everything like that, but never got Album of the Year. It's rigged and everything like that. He's like, you have all these songs, but you don't have Album of the Year. It doesn't make sense. And he basically called out the whole, like, he was just like, and some people are nominated for genres they shouldn't even be in. And it was just like, I didn't want to ruin it for everybody. You should check it out. It's hilarious.
Hey, I'm almost tempted to pull it up on screen, but I don't want to get copyright blocked, man. That's great. Oh, man. They always have something dramatic happening.
And the other thing I was going to say is about, I know a lot of people, we're always trying to look for other revenues and everything like that. Nobody can get nightclubs or whatever it is. The R&B brunch has really started working in my area because the people that used to go out when they were early 20s are now 40s. So you're not going to go out to the club because you don't want to, they have kids or whatever it is, but you can take them to a breakfast, sit down, listen to the music that you used to listen to with your kids and your husband and just relax. So it's another avenue of making money, and you can offer these to, the restaurants or the breakfast places because a couple of them do it over here religiously now.
Yeah. There's a good way to double up too. I see that a lot here in Nashville. DJs who will do a Sunday brunch, pack up their laptop, and then roll to do a Sunday night event so they can do two in a day. Or people who just don't want to stay out late at night, they can team up with I would think that though nowadays there's probably more lounges, restaurants, niche-y, vibey spots that you can just set up a pair of turntables in the corner and just get a little bit more experimental with. You may not be at a dance floor or a nightclub per se, but I think, you're bringing a vibe to a place that's not otherwise dancey, and think of a better genre to play background-wise. That's great.
You can go deep. You can go deep. You can go B-sides.
Yeah.
And they don't care because they're there. And it's like, where else will you get to play that? They just enjoy it.
Clubstrants. Spin Diesel said clubstrants. Is that actually a name? Clubstrants?
If not, it should be.
Fair to say. I got their hand raised, radio.
Yeah, DJ Supreme the Great. Have you unmute and join us?
How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Hey,
My
what's up,
first
DJ?
time on a hackathon. My name is DJ Supreme. I wanted to speak a little bit to touch on what y'all was already speaking on about the grown and sexy, the transition from. I came when I first started DJing. I was like 19 years old in a college town, right? Started off house parties, going crazy. All the hits. That's all they wanted to hear was hits. I'm 30 now. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is a different type of experience. You know what I mean? The grown and sexy is different. They actually pay more as well. So that's why I think like the R&B culture, even though we don't get as much, I wanted to speak on what John had said in the comments. It's a lot of those crosses, mixes that still keep the upbeat, but they might be hip hop, but they might be R&B at the same time, like the K-Camps, the Brent Fayez. Well, of course, you already know the Scissors, where they can mix in well with the old school and new school, and also cross matching the samples. Like the samples, like a lot of DJs miss every single song now got a sample in a beat. And mixing those samples with the current song, people don't even know they song got a sample in it. Like the artist, but once you deep dive into what you're listening to, it's like cross matching is in the smooth, like the grown and sexy is because the grown and sexy is the mix between younger and older, and they both like older music and younger music. So it's like that perfect transition at this point now. So. Yeah,
besides playing the music, this is good. I'm glad you brought this up. Grown and sexy. I've seen his flyers. I've seen these, especially in time for Valentine's Day. Paint the picture for me beyond just the music. If somebody were to throw their own grown and sexy party, what would that entail?
For me, it depends on you can do grown and sexy with younger people, and you can do grown and sexy with older people, and you can do grown and sexy with the clubsterants, as we use the new term we just made up here and create.
I love it. Yeah.
Glenn is on. Can you trademark that?
Yeah. Even the younger generation, I painted as they wanted to do something for, say, a younger crowd. Yes, more so it would be tailored towards, of course, the Cardi B's, the Nicki mixes and stuff like that. To keep it still upbeat, but it's still R&B and still sexy. Now, if you're doing it for 25 and up, 30 and up, it's going to hit a little different. And I think those are the best, honestly, to my personal opinion. I'm biased because you can go anywhere with it. You can go to Whitney Houston all the way to a SZA or Ari Lennox or whatever. But I think like creating the environment is really, it don't have really much to do with us. It's about how either the promoters or whoever, if you're doing your own events, like their attire, make them feel like it's bougie. But the DJ, us as DJs, we make the experience real from the beginning. How we begin is it can be coming in smooth, and before we read in the crowd and figure out who we get, it's like a wedding. You gotta figure out who your people is, and then after that, then you can figure out how to vibe with them and groove with them.
I remember there was a time when I was in a college town, and there was a French promoter who lived in the dorms, and he had this very distinct accent, but he would always walk around in a velvet jacket, and he'd be passing out flyers to his grown and sexy party. And when I think grown and sexy, I envision everyone has to come in dressed to the nines. Rule number one. They got to be dressed. Obviously, the dress code is strictly enforced. But when they walk in, there's the velvet rope experience. And then he would always be really very much bottle service. Everyone gets their own little VIP package. Ice luges was a big thing for him, like how they had the bartenders where like the drinks would pour down the ice luge. He would always team up with limousine services around the clock. People could rent a limousine to go around the block a couple times, and team up with tuxedo places, like maybe like these second-rate tuxedo places that are hurting for business. Hey, I'll promote a party if they buy tickets here and get a tuxedo rental. I'm just throwing all these ideas at you, getting a little off topic, but my point is there's so many opportunities, like Jay says, to get these different kinds of experiences out. Any final thoughts, Supreme?
I would say the final thing to add to what you said, the only red flag, if they come in looking like a strip club manager, you ain't at a grown and sexy.
You're gonna be on that, yeah.
I appreciate y'all having me.
Thank you. One's the
Yeah,
chat.
we hope
everyone.
we see you again, man.
Yeah, you will. I'll be here. Appreciate y'all.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good.
Hey, did y'all do me a favor last time and do what I asked? Did you do what I asked? I'm asking you right now. Did you tell a DJ about what's going on Tuesdays? The only way for this thing to happen is for you to spread the word. Listen, the numbers are going up, and that's because you are. The answer is you are, and you have been, and I want to say thank you. To me, this is the most important thing in the world. The reason why I'm showing off the fact that we're out here in Music City is because I want to get as close to the music as possible, and I think y'all are with me on this too. If you're on with this journey, I guarantee there's another DJ out there who's struggling, trying to put those set lists together, maybe not on the level in which you're at. Can you bring a DJ on the come up? Can you bring that guy or girl who needs that inspiration? Put them on a Tuesday hackathon. Get them here to talk about music, because otherwise we're going to get lost. As an industry, we will be lost. Let's listen to people like Herbert, who's been around for Lord knows how many years. Just the stories he can share with us could definitely help us in our sets. I want to just encourage the people who are the old school and put a 1 in the chat for the new school. On your way out the door, put a 1 in the chat. 1, 1, 1, 1. Let's see it. Let's see it. Fabs with his first hackathon. Thank you. Nasty with a 1. Spy with a 1. Money Mellow with a 1. Jay, thank you all for joining us. The crate, again, available now at crateoftheweek.com. Catch you again next week. Special guests. Very special guests. I'll let you know next Monday night. Spread the word. Happy hacking.